So hello. Now I've been meaning to do this video for weeks actually, and so in my mind I thought I would collect these Helm watch heads, the Khuraburi and the Komodo here, and I've got one of these Reiko plastic, what do you call them? They're containers. To put in the, so for example in this tray I've got, actually I can take the, why don't I do that? So I've got my 20mm and 22mm lug pins. Here are some two Khuraburis. So I'm a bit of a date fan, so everything I've here has got a date. And I tend to go for the pieces that are more colourful. So you know, the orange detailing on the minute track of the diver bezel, and the orange on the minute hand there. And so with the Komodo, in fact, I'm going to, why don't I take these pieces out? But actually, first of all, maybe I should do this. No, what I will do is, why don't I put that to the side, and then I can put each of these watch heads like this, because I think it might look better. Yeah, why don't I do that? There we go. And I'll pull the tray back in a moment. But you can see here I've got so I think I've got these are 20mm and these are the 22mm straps, and of course the rubber straps here. But let's take a look at these watch heads first of all, and if I zoom in there, that might work well. Okay, why don't I put that there? I'm doing this all on camera, on the fly. That might not be the best. Let me zoom out again. There we go. Because then I can pull the watch head into the frame. So first of all, let's start off with the Komodo. And so I suppose what I should say first of all is the Komodo is 40mm case size, and the Khuraburi is 42mm. And what's interesting, originally when I was looking at these watches, I thought they were all the same size, and even when I noticed that the lug width was 20mm on the Komodo, it never clicked. For some reason I missed looking at the case size of the Komodo. So I thought the Komodo was going to be the same size as the Khuraburi, and it wasn't. Now it doesn't mean that the Komodo, this one, is small, because it's not. This is still a 40mm case, and for many people this sizing is going to be brilliant. The 42 is, for some people, they think it's big. I don't think it's big at all. Let me zoom out there, and then I can bring the pieces in like this. So for many people, this Komodo is going to be the perfect size with its 20mm lug width. The Khuraburi might seem a little large. For me, definitely not. I am probably more in the direction of the 42mm. I don't know why, but I prefer larger watches, and for me 42mm is definitely my preference. Saying that, as we know, your tastes, a person's taste can change very quickly, and so I might end up finding the 40mm, a better size watch for my wrist. But and also the camera doesn't always show how it looks in real life. The camera tends to show the watch head looking much larger, the watch looking bigger than it is on the wrist. In real life, the watch wears a little smaller, is what I find. But yeah, so 42mm and 40mm. And I suppose, I'm just working out how I can show you there we go. I can do it like this. Now they're roughly the same thickness, although the Komodo does look The Komodo actually might look thicker, and that's because of the ratios between the bezel and the side of the case. But I think the actual thickness is identical on the Khuraburi. The bezel is slightly larger, so the proportions of it are making the case look smaller, but in actual fact they are the same width. But one of the things I wanted to point out, and I think this is one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of Helm and these pieces, in particular these pieces, the Khuraburi and the Komodo, is the build quality is really sensational. And I suppose I'm comparing the quality of these watches with all the other mechanical watches. In fact, all watches that I've ever had in my hand, I suppose. The quality of the finish is brilliant. The detailing and the etched out part on the back of these helms, that's one of the things that really got me actually, is the quality of the case back, and just the nice design and detailing, and how they've removed material to display the name and the movement and other information. But the build quality of helms, it really does strike you. Now, I suppose I am I probably am a value shopper, in that I like, many people use the term bang for buck, but I suppose I am subconsciously, a bit of a value shopper. I like to look at what's available, and my decisions are often based on value as I see it. And I'm quite sure I can be wrong at times, and I'm sure that I've made mistakes in the past. But the cost of these and the build quality is absolutely fantastic. In my opinion, you are definitely getting a watch that, in terms of build quality, is much higher than watches that are double and 3 times the price of a Helm. So I don't know how Helm have actually done it, how they've managed to get this level of build quality and finishing for the retail price. I really don't know how Helm has done that. Hopefully it is coming across, but this really does feel like a very good quality. I don't know if my opinion is that qualified. I can't say that this is the same build quality. Actually, I can. This definitely is the build quality of watches that are 3 times, 4 times, 5 times the cost of this. But those watches tend to have better quality movements, I suppose, in context. These watches have an NH35 movement, which is a Seiko Instruments movement. So the accuracy is not always top. It's not always that high end, but the accuracy does tend to be within the specifications, the advertised specifications. So if you don't mind plus or minus 5-10 seconds a day, NH35 is always going to be fine. And in my experience, all the watches I've ever had that have had an NH35 movement in have always ended up being something like plus minus 10 seconds a day. Although I think the published specification of the Seiko Instruments NH movements, I think the tolerance is greater than that, but I've never known an NH movement be more than minus 10, plus 10 from memory. In fact, all these watches are definitely less than that. I can't remember which one now. The 2 Khuraburis, the accuracy of these 2 was fantastic. From memory, it's something. Both of them were positive. One was about 3 seconds a day, and the other one was about 5 seconds a day. So that is really, nice tight tolerances. And the Komodos, I think I've only looked at the accuracy of these once, and they were all a bit different. each of these was I think one of them was -5 seconds in 24 hours, and the other two were +5 and +10. So these three, the Komodos, the accuracy was a little more varied. On this one occasion that I did take a note. But I do remember thinking, gosh, that is really not a problem, the one that was minus, because I think it was only -5. And also that was, in one position. Most probably it was in the up position. So that might mean that as I'm wearing it, the accuracy is going to be different to that. But I remember thinking at the time, the accuracy is just not an issue. So on the whole, the Helm's accuracy has been fabulous. But I suppose for me, and I suppose like this shot here, in fact, let me just take a photo of that. This shot really does sum up the Helm watch business for me. I mean, I once again, I've only got 2 of their models. There are 2 other models, but these were the models that really stuck out to me, and I really liked the colorway. And it's why I've got the 3 of the Komodo, and it was really because I just could not decide. On both occasions, I decided to get the black dial of each of the watches, and then with the Khuraburi, the blue, I equally liked it. Probably I thought I might not like it as much, but because I think there was only 2 choices, it was very easy for me to think, okay, get the black dial and the blue dial, but the same color configuration on top of that. But coming to the Komodo, I had a real problem because I literally liked all 3 of them the very same. If I was really pushed and I could only get one, I'd probably end up going the black dial, because getting a black dial is always the safest move, I find. And because the black dial had the orange minute hand, and I know that it's a very common feature for a dive watch to have, but it's a feature that I like so much. So, and I thought, just the colorway of this is something that I like. Anyway, so I was in the direction of the black dial, but then I thought I need to choose, and I spent ages looking at these 2 thinking, I can only choose one, I can only choose one. And it got to the point where, maybe a day later, I thought, I just can't choose which one. And then eventually silly me, I thought, why don't I just get both? Because if this is causing me so much anguish and so much concern, it means that they're both, fabulous, and they really are. And I love the way the chapter ring matches the color of it, matches the dial. So it's giving you that lovely sort of, how do I say it? The design of it, what Helm has done, that is a Komodo watch, really. Of course, the color of it and the style and design, many watches look similar to this, but I don't know. But for me, when I look at that, I think that is a Helm. And so Helm have done something to make this design their own design. Maybe someone will correct me, and maybe there's another watch that is more characteristic of this design, and so this is came out after that. But for me, this Helm is most definitely a unique, characteristic Helm watch. And especially this white dial with the blue loom. I mean, look at that. And it's why I sort of have these 5 Helms. And I know this might sound a little bit strange, but one of the other reasons that I wanted these watches like this, and I wanted to sort of house them in this box here, and have all these straps for them. In fact, I should pull out a couple of the straps. I mean, look at this strap here on this blue one in particular. I think that was the first configuration I did, and I thought, doesn't that look so cool? Let me zoom in here, and hopefully the camera is picking up the color. But look at that. I know it's very colourful, but that was the aesthetic I was going for anyway. You know, I was wanting something, you know, very colourful and sort of fun looking. But then I had a few, you know, very good quality leather straps, 20 millimeters. So I knew that, for example, when I got this, glossy dark brown alligator was going to look super on that, and it is one of my most popular configurations actually. And of course this very dark brown gloss alligator goes with the white dial as well, although you probably want a black strap color on this white dial. I think it looks more striking that way, but the dark brown alligator goes so well, of course, with the orange. Look at that. That is really very, very nice. And so having all these strap options, you know, it really was overkill, I suppose. I have more different configurations and more strap options than you could than you probably need. So I agree with you. I've gone overboard here, but it does allow an awful lot of pleasure, I suppose, in thinking, you know, what strap am I going to wear today? And of course, let me find. I've got this rubber strap. Let me just get my hands on it. Not that one. Just when you'll this one here. I've used this strap on a number of watches, and it's probably one of the most favourite rubber straps that I've ever bought, and it seems to go with absolutely everything. And to illustrate, look at the white dial with that strap there. Let me zoom out. You can just see how good that looks. And that strap, I was tempted for a moment to get 3 of them, because so many times I am thinking I want this on all 3 of the Komodos, because it's such a nice configuration. The black with the white dial with the black and black bezel looks super. If I just put the black dial in, look at that. Now this configuration really makes the orange hand stick out, and I think that looks really nice. And then we have the orange. Yeah, you see, black, it always works. A black rubber strap, it's always going to work, doesn't it? And let me pull out the black one here. So I've got this, I think these are Zulu divers. And but I think they're made by Bonito Churini. Gosh, I'm butchering that name. But black rubber always seems to go with any watch that you ever, you know, put it up to. Look at that. That does look very good, doesn't it? Yeah, when I've worn this out with a black t-shirt, I've always thought it looks so cool. Hopefully the colour's coming through there. It looks a little dark on my screen. Anyway, look at that. Doesn't it look good? So, you know, this is where, you know, you can have a lot of fun with wristwatches and, you know, having lots of straps like this, because you can fiddle around with, you know, the colour configurations, you know, exactly what I'm doing here. And let me zoom in again. And another reason that I've got the straps off here is so that you can see the build quality, and hopefully that build quality and the finishing is coming through. I mean, I know that perhaps robots or, you know, machines have done this. I mean, I'm sure that they have, but the finish is exceptional. I mean, I don't think anyone is going to find criticism with that brush finish there. Once again, the value, the build quality and the value of these watches, it really is quite amazing. It makes me think, you know, I'm so pleased that I've got these and I want to keep them. Actually, I think I was alluding to earlier, yes, sorry, why have I got, you know, 5 Helm watch heads like this? And so firstly, why don't I have the bracelet? Secondly, why 5? Okay, let's do the bracelet first. And now, metal bracelets is something that is probably my favorite, but I'm one of those people that really does need a tapering bracelet. I don't know why, but when a bracelet doesn't taper, it tends to throw me off course a little bit, especially if it's a metal bracelet. And also I find that a metal bracelet wears a lot more comfortable if it's not very thick. So once again, I'm just applying my own preference, on top of all the available cool stuff that's out there. And I thought to myself, because the bracelets don't taper, although I think that the Khuraburi, I think it does taper from 22 down to 20. And so the buckle, or the different buckles, you can use that buckle on the Komodo. Now, I don't think the Komodo does taper. It's 20 millimeters all the way down to the clasp, and the clasp is 20. On the Khuraburi, it's 22 down to 20. But for me, a 2 millimeter taper on a already 22 millimeter bracelet, I know I'm not going to like it long term. So I thought to myself, I don't need the bracelets on this occasion. And also, I have a feeling that Helm might actually produce a new bracelet that will, of course, fit all the watch heads of previous watches. And so I thought maybe they will produce a more tapering bracelet, or a thinner bracelet, or something like that. And that's when I thought I'll get a Helm bracelet for it then. But also there was another idea that I had, and that was I really like mesh bracelets. And I thought, why don't I get a 22 millimeter mesh bracelet for the Khuraburi and a 20 millimeter mesh bracelet for the Komodos? Now, mesh bracelets, so I've just said something and I'm going to sound like a hypocrite. Mesh bracelets tend to not taper because it's very difficult to actually taper because of the construction of a mesh bracelet. It's very difficult. But because they're mesh, for some reason, the lack of a taper sort of works. And the mesh bracelets that I have in my mind for these watches, that they are quite thin, and so that was one of the things that's one of the reasons why I got these, because I thought they're going to look so good on a mesh bracelet. Now, I've also seen a third-party 3-link bracelet that does taper, that of course has a straight end, and so it won't have the fitted end part there, but it will have a straight end, and I think that's going to look excellent. So the reason I've got the heads like this is because I've got hundreds of straps for them anyway, but I do intend to get a mesh bracelet and/or a 3-link third-party bracelet for these, and I think they're going to look so good with the bracelets that I've got in mind. And I just haven't had a chance to get round to that, but I will. And I think these on the metal bracelets that I've got planned for these, it really is going to look very cool. Anyway, at that, I'm going to say hopefully this hasn't gone on for too long, although it probably has. And hopefully I've got a bit of a review of the Komodo and the Khuraburi. I suppose my review conclusion is really, these are absolutely fabulous watches. That I can't really criticize them. I can imagine what some people might say about them, but based on the price of them and what this thing is and what it does, I'm not sure you can even put the criticism towards them, mainly because of the price of these things and really, what great value they are, especially if you're a bit of a watch nerd like me. The value proposition here is really fabulous. So overall, my review of these watches is if you think you like this watch, my goodness, I can promise you, you are going to like it. And the other thing that indicates that they're doing so well is the very fact that you still have to go on a waiting list to get one of these. That is amazing. And I think, I mean, I was on the waiting list for both of these, and I'm sure I waited 2 years for both. So that is just amazing. I can't believe I did that, because I'm a person that I don't really go on waiting lists. It's something I don't want to do. But I did with this. I completely forgot about it. They arrived and I thought, what a cool thing. So I've sort of changed my mind about waiting lists, because I've had a lot of fun choosing these and waiting for them. And then when the thing arrives and it really delights you in terms of its value, and the value that you perceive to have, it really was a very nice experience. Anyway, there you go, the Komodo and the Helm Khuraburi. And I hope everyone is well, and no doubt we shall speak again about these.